Hey, good evening. Tonight I want to talk with you about some thoughts that I have about 9/11, since this is September 11th, and Charlie Kirk. 9/11 and Charlie Kirk. Thanks so much for being here tonight. It's an honor to be with you. It's September 11th, this Thursday. It's a sad day. It's a heavy day. It would be sad and heavy simply because it's 9/11. But then you add that to the shooting yesterday of Charlie Kirk, and it becomes a day of great moment. It's a heavy day, a somber day. And it has to do with Jesus Christ and people who are faithful and loyal to Him. And the attack of the enemy against the ever-progressing Church of Christ. And it is progressing. God has promised the church will not fail. The gates of hell will not prevail. But it doesn't mean there's not going to be a war. And we experienced that war on a national scale 24 years ago on September 11th, when almost 3,000 people were killed in the World Trade Centers. And it was a religious attack against not just Americans, but because they were infidels, Christians. So that lingers on, and it was a shocking day. A day that shaped our history. But then yesterday, on September 10th, Charlie Kirk was killed. And he's been represented in the media as a political activist. And that's not true. Charlie Kirk was first and foremost a Christian and biblical apologist, someone who stood up for his faith, someone who was dedicated to his family, someone who was convinced that the Bible and Christianity were the only hope of mankind, and coming to know Jesus Christ was the only thing that would bring healing to this planet. And if you listen to his clips, not just the ones they show you on the media and the news bites, but you see how often, how deeply rooted in his faith he was, how important family was to him, how important the Bible was to him. And he was killed not because he was a political activist, but because he represented Jesus Christ. Remember in Matthew 24, Jesus says, if you want to follow me, remember, the world will hate you. The world will come after you. And if they persecuted me, they will persecute you. Listen to the words of Psalm 2, the first opening lines here. Why do the nations rage? Why do they waste their time with futile plans? The kings of earth prepare for battle. The rulers plot together against the Lord and against his anointed one, Jesus. Let us break their chains, they say, they cry. Let us free ourselves from the slavery to God. Ever since the garden, we've been at war. Now, again, this puts in perspective. 3,000 people were slaughtered on September 11th, 24 years ago. So I've been doing some research this afternoon, and I get varying results, but even the lowest numbers are staggering. I wanted to see what numbers do we have on the number of Christians that have been killed for their faith since 9/11, 24 years ago. The numbers on the low end suggests that number is easily 10,000 a year. That means 250,000 Christians have been killed for their faith. On the high end, depending upon the research that you do, it's over 1 million, well over 1 million. People who were killed for being Christians. Much of that is in places in Asia and in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. But war against Christians is for real. And what we're seeing evidenced, the hatred that's being evidenced, is not about politics. It's about this God who requires something. Notice verse 3 again of Psalm 2. These rulers and plotters in the world, let us break their chains, they cry. Let us free ourselves from slavery to God. See, unregenerate man, folks of the world, want nothing to do with God's loving restrictions. They want nothing to do with marriage. They want nothing to do with honor and respect for others. They want to live their own life, pursue their own lusts, without gratitude to God. Romans 1, verses 18 to 25, 23 tell us the same thing. But we are, again, stunned by the 3,000 folks who were killed on 9/11. But what about from 250,000 to 1 million people, Christians, who have been killed for believing what you and I are talking about right now? We need to be serious about our faith. We need to present an alternative and not just go with what's convenient. Not just trust the government. Not just trust that everything will work out. We need to go to the one who's in charge, God himself. See, God is not ruling because somebody passed a law or because an opinion poll was taken. God rules because he's God. And we live in his world on his time at his pleasure. Let's take that to heart. Let's be faithful to follow Charlie Kirk's example of being a man of faith, a man who was dedicated to his family. And when Charlie was asked how he wanted to be remembered, he said, I'd like to be remembered for a man who had the courage to live out his faith. I pray that we will do that. And as we grasp the significance of that, we'll see that this life is indeed one of war, but a war that is won, a war that leads to peace and hope, where King Jesus rules. May God bless us all on this September 11th, 2025. Look forward to talking to you tomorrow, and we'll get back into Proverbs. Good night.